All right, here we go. So it's called Better Love Movement, and I think that's itself is a woman's page based on how they responded in the comment section. And she screenshotted something from a page called What Men Should Do, and it's obviously that's a men's platform. Um, and it has a list. I'm going to read the list and go through one by one. The average man today, no skills, no hobbies, zero ambition, terrified of women, can't do 10 push ups, desperate for attention, incapable of eye contact, has testosterone level lower than his grandpa. It has never been easier to stand out. The competition is zero. All right, so here's my problem. The overall general message, I would be willing to say, okay, cool, sure, you have a point. The problem is how they typically go out of their way to just overdo it. And I mean overdo it. It's like the no skills part. I don't know what you're talking about when you say no skills. Like, I'm a truck driver. There are guys who are plumbers. There are guys who are welders. You name it. Are you talking about that? Or are you talking about, there are guys who don't know home improvement or car maintenance? Or, like, what exactly do you mean, no skills? What are you talking about? Are you talking about bow and arrow? Like, what do you mean? That's too general of a statement. Then it says, no hobbies. Our hobbies tend to get shitted on if they aren't, like, out in the woods chopping down trees for fun. Like, the video game thing gets shitted on nonstop. Why? It's an easy go-to. It's just an easy go-to. So again, unless our hobbies are actively, quote unquote, making us better people, because our hobbies absolutely have to do that, they get shit on. So what do you mean we have no hobbies? I would say, and I'll move on, I would say, when you say we have no hobbies is, you're talking about, yet again, we don't have hobbies that, quote unquote, I guess, make us more appealing or attractive. So, moving on. Zero ambition. To do what? I hate this word. It gets thrown out so much. It is fucking stupid. No ambition to do what? Because if you are okay where you are in life and you're not like starving and like a panhandler, I don't understand why people keep saying you have no ambition. To do what? Because even take it to another, like a bit of an extreme, but this extreme is very common. There's a cutoff point that people don't seem to want to acknowledge, right? If you are not willing to go to your deathbed saying, or no, doing, I'm trying to be a millionaire, to a lot of people, that's not ambitious. So I don't really understand like where the bar is for your whole no ambition. But I'm going to default it to what is typical and say this is another bullshit bullet point on this list. You know what? Let's stay on that for a while. What if your ambition is to have kids and take care of them? Like, that's your ambition, to have a family. A nice family that you teach your kids, you all love each other, blah, 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 blah. That's not someone who needs to own a business. That's not someone who needs to make 100 grand. It's not. But people will say that that's not ambitious. So from now on, when y'all use this word ambitious, I need you to give an example or define what you're talking about. Otherwise, from here on out, I kind of just dismiss it and ignore it because you don't paint enough of a picture. Terrified of women. Okay, I'm assuming here that what you mean is terrified of approaching women for romantic purposes. Because obviously, like, if you are checking out and she's a cashier, how many times have you ever seen a dude go, not that one, a woman's there? So I'm assuming this is approach women for romantic purposes. Here's what I like to address this with. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm not saying that there are not people, or in this particular case, men who have social anxiety, lack of social skills, or however you want to draw that up, right? The problem that is not in their control is this post itself. As far as women are concerned, there are the haves and the have-nots in regards to men. Some men, and even though I hate the so many different variations of red pill, blue pill, this gives a lot of credibility to the black pillars who say there's no hope. Because, as you see down here, in general, that this list trying to essentially say, stand out. So, if most people are regular, average people, men and women. One of my beefs has always been, why does a guy have to be like well above average, but the woman he be getting, like he can't say no, like no average woman. Like, well, let me rephrase that. I did that wrong. Why do all guys have to strive to become above average, but an average woman by default, hell, a below average woman by default is above average? She's beautiful. She's awesome. She's a prize. I gotta be lucky to have her. Like, when you do that, you cause an extreme imbalance between the two parties. Okay. So again, it's are you terrified or dudes going, I kind of know where I stand, and that actually explains a lot of this list of the guy you're talking about or the men you're talking about. If they know there are the have-nots and what it would take to become the haves, you kind of, I guess, go fuck it then. Because there's, that song, there ain't no mountain high enough, no valley low. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Again, if your partner is going to be average no matter what, and that's either way, but in this particular case, men, if you're going to get an average woman no matter what, and they're saying she's worth the highest mountain and the lowest valley, bullshit. No, she's not. Look, this is me. I'm an adult. You're an adult. Yes or no? You want to go or not? I'm going to do this with you, that with you, blah, blah, blah. Love you as much as I need to, whatever. Yes or no? Have good luck. So that's how I approach the whole terrified of women. You kind of created a society where it's kind of, you might as well just approach it as, fuck it. Either I will or I won't. And I'm not going to keep going even any deeper into that. Let's just move on. And here's why I really got pissed off with this list. Can't do 10 push-ups. You could have tried to be a little more rational with that. You could have tried to be a little more rational with that. So it can be like a legit, like regular, like conversation, dude. Like, come on. Like it pisses me off when we get to the point to where now I can't even address it because it's so ridiculous that, like, what do I say to this? Can't do 10 push-ups. I'm an average guy. I can do, fuck it. My camera isn't on, but we're going to do it. We're going to do 10 push-ups, and you'll hear me doing the goddamn 10 push-ups. And I ain't even got my perfect push-ups here with me. So here we go. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And still got plenty more to go. It's like absolutely atrocious. The shit we're doing here. It's so dumb. Let's move on. And you know what? We're going to go over this with probably a counter to this with I guess the average woman today. Desperate for attention. That is absolutely true. We have created a society where people, men included, so in this particular case, men, really need attention. Why? Partly because the way people raise their kids. I seen, what is her name? I forget the lady's name. Shit. Brett Cooper for the Daily Wire. She showed, she had reacted to this video. Well, she included it in her, what she was talking about. And there was a study that had been out for a while, and it showed the mom interacting with her child, and like when the mom reacts to the baby, like pointing and stuff, the baby gets excited, right? But they did it another way, where when the baby would like be pointing and laughing and blah blah, and the mom would keep a still face, like not reacting. And it showed that the baby would start to go into the stress, like what the fuck? Why are you doing this? And we have a lot of parents that pretty much when they're around their kids, it's hell, it started generations ago, actually. Here, just watch TV. Here, just nowadays, here's a tablet. Here's the, like, shut up, get like basic, without saying it, basically shut up, get the fuck away from me, right? So a lot of people went without the attention, the care, the, I guess, love or everything in that you know you would get from your parents. A lot of people didn't have that. They didn't get that. So a lot of people, and then you give them Instagram, TikTok, social media in general, where people are always either liking or commenting or even talking shit to them. It's enough, right? So yes, people today, in this particular case, men, are desperate for attention. Well, especially men, because we don't have vaginas. Or, well, some of us got boobs, but not the good ones. So we don't just defaultly get the attention by existing. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, that one I'll agree with. Incapable of eye contact with who? I mean, like in general, or like with women? Because when you talk to people, like, I'm okay with eye contact, but it does get to a point of like, are we supposed to be staring directly into each other's pupils while having this conversation about? Not like it's like in certain situations I get it, but literally staring into somebody's soul when you're talking about how terrible McDonald's is kind of odd. It's kind of odd. Like you're gonna look off occasionally, right? So that one I would, if you want to put that there, fine, okay, whatever. Has testosterone lower than his grandpa. Again, activity, diet. I myself grew up on a shit diet. Like, it's awful. It is awful. It is basically like drugs at this point for me. Like, it's awful. So when you, and also at the same time, activities, movement, walking. I realized, and this was some time ago, right? But I realized that as I got older, I walked less and less, like throughout time, right? Like let's take it all the way back, right? But the 6th grade, I believe, is when I started walking to school by myself and stopped having my grandma, who I stayed with at the time, drop. Well, actually, everybody stopped dropping me off. I didn't like to ride in the car with my grandma because she didn't realize, she talked a lot of shit about everybody, including me. So I was like, fuck this, I'm walking. Then my mom, she was no better. I'm like, fuck this, I'm walking. So at that point, at 6th grade is when I really started to walk. And it was about a half hour from any location, like wherever I was. And the same thing for high school. When I tried college out, same thing there. But then I got a car at some point while in college. Then I started to drive there, drive to work. And now, if I want to walk, I have to like actively go when it's warm outside to a track or to the gym and like get my walking in that way. So now my exercise is not just intertwined in my day. I have to go out of my way to do it. And that's how a lot of, in America, at least that I know, that's how it is for a lot of people. It's just constantly sitting down doing nothing. So that goes into just testosterone. All your chemical levels in your body, it goes there. So if you want that to change, you're kind of going to you're going to need a change in society where people just move more. Are we going to do that with all the technology? Nope. So I guess there's no fixing that. Moving on. Then again, about the bottom says it has never been easier to stand out. The competition is zero. All right, so now let's wrap this up. All in all, like I said before, we're talking about yet again. It's not okay to just oh, it even says where's she even put in her caption. Don't be an average man. The bar is too low. The competition is too low. Facts on facts right now. Just too low. But apparently, and somebody brought up in the comment section, she said, no, just talk about men, but they're one and the same, right? The competition obviously is for women, right? So I think it's fair to talk about what you're going to get in that competition. You can't be an average guy, again, because the average woman won't want you. This kind of, we've been, like, the red pill manosphere community has been saying that, but it's been, like, rejected. But this right here literally says that. It literally says that. Well, not word for word, so I shouldn't say literal, but that's what it's saying. Don't be an average man, because what? You won't get an average woman? That's crazy. That's insane. That we're really okay with saying work hard and then, hey, you get an average woman as a prize. You want to be or not? You want to be or not? I told you when and I'm going off course here, so at this point, if you're done with this specific post, probably stop. But that's why I approach it, dating the way that I do, is you want to be or not. And granted, that's probably why I get blocked a lot on Facebook Match, but we get the gist. Let's go to the 106 comments. Same can be said about average women. Just because they can dress up nice don't mean they have substance. I wonder what he meant by that. Because the post doesn't say dress up nice. So I wonder what was in his mind. So I'm not going to read that reply. She says, I can tell who checks off a few on this list. Confident people aren't easily offended or dismayed at all with the list that's reflective of someone's personal experience or opinion. The sensitivity these days. As a woman, I don't care what men's perspectives are about women in general. I'm me, and I'm confident enough to know who I am, what I am, and what my capabilities are. Woo, the sensitivity and defensiveness, shaking my head. So your response to all of this is you don't give a fuck what men have to say about what women should and shouldn't be. But somehow we should give a fuck about this post. The irony, we should give a fuck if we fit anything on this list, when you don't give a fuck what we got to say about you. All right. Okay. It's exhausting. I just want to thrive in my femininity. I'm not saying this is all men, but since I've been single, the list describes about 90%. Can't do 10 push-ups, huh? Yo, you never hear this from like celibate women. So apparently, women just going around fucking dudes that can't do 10 push-ups. Crazy. I think this proves my point. Where the fuck does she... Oh, well, granted, she's on stage, so I guess that is standing out. But in the dating market, where does she stand out? Where does she stand out? Because she has bright makeup on? Oh, y'all got that shit. all y'all be her size and go, makeup and hair fixes everything. Where does she stand out? But she wants someone to stand out. All right. Please don't forget about the erectile dysfunction with real women due to porn addiction. Usually these guys' hobby is drinking alcohol if that's a hobby. Wow. Fucking wow. It's amazing. Y'all can tell us that we have erectile dysfunction because of our faults, basically. But if y'all don't get wet, moist, whatever you want to call it, if y'all don't get aroused in some sort of way, it's our fault. Why don't you have arousal dysfunction? Can we call it that? It ain't my fault. You just got dry vag syndromosis. Like, why is it my fault you can't get wet? Is this her? No, I wouldn't call her ugly. She tall as hell though. But it's again, y'all fuck around running into dudes who have erectile dysfunctional problems. It somehow has nothing to do with you. At all. At all. It can't be because the mood ain't shit. It can't because nothing else but him and his fault. All right. You know what? If y'all just put out period instead of the half and half nots, why don't y'all just put out, let's dudes watch porn. How about that? You want to solve the problem or you just talk shit? Help us help you. This had to be put together by a woman because men know better. She says it from a man's platform. Every time a question is asked about men and the response is, well, what about the woman? I see adolescent's behavior emerging. The question wasn't answered because of the deflection. Same goes for women. When are we addressing a topic related to specific gender and you negate the conversation with rebuttals about the opposite gender? Is giving deflection. You can't discuss or find solutions when you stay going in circles about pointing the finger. Okay, it's not necessarily deflecting. If something is proposed or put out there and it seems like what they're doing is saying that this side has a problem, but that side is relevant both ways, which is why I always try to go generally, but in this particular case, to leave so I can address up front the people who will ask that question. Because it's sometimes relevant. All right. Does she have anything of her? Is that not her? Oh God, Nars. I keep telling my younger brother, please act like in a way your father would approve if he was still on earth. His car is his hobbies, and he's hanging out with questionable people, which turned into dating a girl that was not the vibe. He's not thinking about his future whatsoever, and I told him you aren't going to be a burden for me or my mother if you can't be a responsible man. It finally clicked after I said that. What? I told him you aren't going to be a burden for me or my mother. I'm assuming she means he isn't going to be financially dependent on him or something. Whatever. She didn't tell us much. She had a post about narcissism, and that's what she has on her page. I think y'all need to start looking up what narcissism means, because it can't possibly be, you can't possibly understand the definition. The average guy described here will still be top 20% of the dating pool at this point. Really? Really? A guy who can't do 10 push-ups is top 20%. A guy, like, okay. She's just being a smart ass. Moving on. Oh my God. This might be my last one because it's long as hell, but it seems like it seems like I want to hear it. This is nonsensical. None of this has any damn thing to do with being a functional man. It's brother that can do everything on the list without fail. One problem, they're in prison because of multiple poor decisions. We always want to jump to what a man can do as a definition of what being a man requires so much more. What good is it to be an above average man in deeds and below average in mind, character, integrity? What good is 10 push-ups and he got damn anger issues? We got to do better with evaluating these content creators and stop spreading this baseless and meaningless crap because it damn sure not helping men. Men seek God for your validation. Anything void of God's approval or backed by his word is a waste of time, and that is tragedy. Okay. All right. I will say this because I think this is what it was intended to be the message. We're at a point we need to acknowledge when we want to have these conversations about what men can't do. They're turning to social media for help. Because the people in their life aren't. That should tell you something. So when you take into consideration that our society has not put really anything into, the most our society has put into people is like giving, like, I don't know, like one, welfare, which that's a negative if anything. Regulation for who's going to like go to college and shit, which we know that doesn't fucking work. It like our society doesn't actually put any effort into anything. We've been preaching do for your damn self for how long? And now all of a sudden we want people, or in this particular case men, to be useful for everybody else? Fuck that. No, when y'all start saying society needs to be helpful for, society, we can talk. But until then, get used to the dudes that are just like, fuck it, I'm going to play my PlayStation and watch my porn. Like, because that's what makes him happy or whatever the fuck. Or at least makes him high. Because we're okay with that, right? We're okay with people just wanting things in their life that give them a high all fucking day. Which is why we justify when chicks call Kendra G and say, oh, if he's not willing to travel as much as I want to, then the hell with him. Until we stop shit like that, or we fight against shit like that, we can't talk. It's a done deal. I'm not going to tell whoever, or in this particular case, any dude that fits this description that just wants to go to work his 9. I don't give a fuck if it's Wendy's. Work his Wendy's job, take his free meal home, watch porn, jack off, play PlayStation, and then until the day he dies? Okay, why not? What are you going to give him if you don't? Oh, then somebody want to have sex with him and have a kid? Why don't y'all set society up for people who want to do that in the first place, as opposed to people who want to just fuck around till they're 40 and then, oh, let's get those eggs out of the freezer. How stupid is that? How stupid is that we literally have chicks freezing their eggs, getting them out when they're damn near 50, and then go, why are dudes willing to jack up? Like, it's the same shit. I'm going to worry about only what I want that doesn't go into society necessarily. And then whenever I get ready to do whatever the fuck I want, then I'll do it. It's the same shit. We're non-productive to everybody else. How do you... I'm done. Be right, not positive.